Hey there, Lana here. So maybe lately you've been walking through life and feeling like something's not quite right. You can't explain it logically. There hasn't been a big dramatic event, but something in you knows this isn't it. And you're not alone. You're also not broken. You're waking up, not in the flashy spiritual trend kind of way, but in a cellular, bone deep lived experience way. And once that process starts, there's no going back. For me, the unraveling didn't start with a single moment. It started with questions, endless ones. I've always been deeply curious. Why do people behave the way they do? Why do some people seem to move through life with ease while others stay stuck in the same patterns year after year? Why does the world keep telling us what to care about when something in me just doesn't? I became a therapist because I wanted to understand relationships, what we say, what we don't say, how we cope, why we break, how we heal. But as I did that work, something deeper started to emerge. I started to see the same dysfunctional patterns I saw in people playing out on a global scale, in systems, in culture, in this thing we all just accept as reality. And I started to ask, not just who am I in relationship to others, but what is this world I'm in relationship with? Here's the simplest way I can put it. You were born into a script, a version of reality that was handed to you by your family, your school, your culture, your religion, the media, long before you ever had a chance to question it. This script is based on performance, achievement, comparison, control, scarcity. It tells you who to be, what to value, how to behave, and what to believe in order to be accepted, to be safe, to be successful. And if you've been feeling like that version of life doesn't fit you anymore, it's probably because it never really did. You were just doing what it took to survive inside of it. I call this the synthetic overlay or the artificial matrix. It's the version of reality that looks real, but isn't built on truth. It's built on programming, on repetition, on unspoken contracts and inherited beliefs. And for a long time, I lived inside of that overlay. I played the game. I tried to do it right. But the whole time, I was anxious, like at a foundational level. I couldn't relax, even when things looked good on paper. Even when I was doing all the healing. Even when nothing was technically wrong. Because I could feel in my body that I was performing a version of reality that didn't match what I actually knew to be true. And once I started seeing that clearly, everything started to unravel and reveal. Here's what I've come to understand. Reality is not fixed. It's not this one-size-fits-all thing that you either measure up to or fall short of. Reality is relational. It's alive. It's participatory. It's energetic. And it's being shaped in real time by you, whether you know it or not. We tend to think of reality as out there, as something solid and objective. But what we call reality is actually a combination of what you believe is possible, what your nervous system is wired to expect, and the frequency you're emitting into the field. Most people are unconsciously recreating the same patterns, the same dynamics, the same struggles over and over again, not because they're cursed or broken or unhealed, but because their field hasn't shifted. The internal signal hasn't changed, so the external response doesn't either. This is where the quantum field comes in. And listen, don't let the word scare you off. The quantum field is just a way of describing the energetic layer beneath everything we see. It's the space of infinite possibility. It's what everything is made of before it becomes form. It's potential waiting to be shaped by awareness, emotion, and attention. You interact with this field constantly. Every time you feel something, think something, speak something, focus on something, you're influencing the field, not just spiritually, energetically, biologically, physically. And the clearer and more regulated your internal system is, the more coherently you can interface with that field. Not from force, not from performance, but from resonance. Your body is the interface, not your mind. Your body, your nervous system, your gut, your heart, your breath is the receiver, the transmitter, the dial. When you're disconnected from your body, you can't feel what's true. You can't discern what's yours. You can't hear the feedback that life is giving you. But when you come back into your body, not all at once, but little by little, you start to reattune. You start to feel what's real. You start to notice which spaces drain you and which ones charge you, which relationships feel like home and which ones feel like contracts, which ideas light up your system and which ones shut you down. And you stop outsourcing your knowing to the world around you, because now you're the one calibrating your field. And emotions, let's reframe that too. Your emotions are not just byproducts. They're creative information. They're your body's way of translating energetic data. Grief, rage, joy, fear, longing. They're not things to manage or minimize. They are signals, movements, frequency shifts. And when you allow them to move through you, you open the channel for life to respond differently. That's not spiritual bypassing. That's energetic maturity. You start to feel the difference between reacting from pain and creating from presence. So if you're starting to feel like reality itself is glitching, like the people around you are still playing out old scripts while you're sitting there blinking, thinking, what is happening here? Let me affirm something really important. You're not imagining it. You're not overreacting, and you're not crazy. You're just not in the synthetic overlay anymore. Your field has started to shift, and the world you're perceiving doesn't match the old program. That's not a failure. That's a milestone. You're seeing clearly. And here's the best part. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't need a 5-step plan or a perfect practice. You just need to stay connected to what feels real to you, in your body, in your breath, in the quiet moments. Follow what feels alive. Notice what pulls you off center. Honor what your nervous system is trying to tell you, even if it doesn't make logical sense. Because you're not here to keep reenacting the past. You're here to create something new. And that begins the moment you decide to stop pretending the old reality makes sense. So if you're asking, what am I in? You're in the beginning of your real life, of your real knowing, of your real relationship with the world. And you don't have to perform for it anymore. Just breathe, be here, listen, and let the next layer of truth meet you where you are.